I'm over bringing in European competition to play the MLS All-Stars.
Why? Isn't
because
it the entertainment factor that everyone loves?
There's two different perspectives going into this game from the two different teams. We alluded to it yesterday. MLS, it's all show. It's all fun and games.
Yes.
It's to give people minutes, to just show off the talent in MLS, which, frankly, you couldn't see that much. To be honest, guys, I fell asleep after 2-0 because I was more interested in the Women's World Cup. Yeah. So I went to sleep, but I saw the first two goals, and immediately you can tell they're on two different paths right now.
Arsenal
were
the
best.
It damages MLS's
I think a little bit, yeah, because look, Arsenal they were one of the best teams in the world last year, and they're going into a preseason trying to get their system into motion again and trying to get things up and running, and they're taking a preseason game much more seriously than MLS is taking this really fun game. And in Major League Soccer today, there's enough talent for it to be East versus West. Done.
That's it.
So I agree with that.
And then to play 60 minutes.
I agree with the All-Star setup, but that question you just asked, I don't think it damages MLS's reputation. Maybe I'm an MLS apologist.
They just lost 5-0 to Arsenal, Michael.
But look so you have your best players in your starting 11 playing 30 minutes.
Yeah.
30 minutes, and then you make a line change, and then you bring 30 more minutes. You have an Arsenal team that they have a Premier League title set on their sights. They have new signings. They have, and you said it, with the mission. They're a team that looked on mission. This MLS All-Star team, they're playing for an event. It's an appearance.
So let me ask you this. Would it be better for MLS, do you think, if they just did the skills challenge, if they took the game part away from it, so then it's not this almost embarrassment of the
Arsenal
line
to partake in the skills challenge. I understand why you want to bring European teams in, because from the marketing. Because you get fans to go to the game with Arsenal jerseys, you sell more tickets, blah, blah, blah. But you bring them to the skills challenge. Maybe you do the skills challenge before and you do it on a weekend, not on a Wednesday or a Tuesday. And then the main event.
Did you want to go? Or?
Is
the Amtrak Excella.
And then the main event is your talent. Maybe not even 11s aside. I love it that in the NBA, at certain times in the game, they're throwing alley-oops and they're dunking, and it's show.
Well, that's what East versus West kind of turns into.
Right, because they know it's not that serious, and they're on the same page. And yesterday, they were not on the same page.
Who stood out to you from MLS All-Star? And I think that's where the difference is. If you think this is going to help MLS, you have to have a number of players who you say, oh, they had a really good game, and they showed up against Arsenal. I don't know who I could point out.
Mukhtar. I thought Hani Mukhtar, yes, you say he showed up and balled out. He at least held his own, running past defenders, at least trying to conduct.
But Michael, look, it's an all-star game. Look at what the NBA,
when you talk about
when somebody stands out in the NBA, they're dunking, they're doing crazy tricks, and that stand out. That's an all-star.
Nico, did you
holding
watch
your own against Arsenal? It's like, what? Oh, our best guy can hold his own. Like the guy that's scoring goals and assists like crazy every single game is holding his own against Arsenal, like,
and now there's all these countries watching.
Why are we exposing ourselves to that?
Think all the countries watching, and they're like, oh, well, MLS just got beat 5-0.
Exactly. So isn't that bad for their image?
I don't know.
I think ultimately, I would
ultimately.
I went to the All-Star game last year, and what I really enjoyed watching was, and you see what's happening with the Leagues Cup, MLS and Liga MX. There's that merger of
But it was both all-star teams.
Yes, I would do that. I think that is the focal point of what needs to happen.
If you do the East against West,
but then invite a European team that's in town, invite them to a skills challenge.
Maybe just not Arsenal.
I don't think you get a European team. MLS, they don't have a great record against European teams in the last couple of years. I think they've won goal since 2018.
MLS All-Stars?
Yeah, but it's a team that doesn't exist.
You don't know. You can watch Arsenal, and they knew everything that was happening next for their team.
Ibis, who's a fantastic researcher, just brought up a great idea in my ear. Said, why don't we do an all-star game between the MLS All-Stars and the Saudi All-Stars, and then we can really
sign me up for that.
How about that? That got me excited.
Well,
Let's listen to what Wayne Rooney had to say after the match, because he wasn't very happy.
I thought it was, obviously the result is what it is, and Arsenal showed the quality which they have. I thought the lads, the All-Star lads, a little bit nervous and hesitant, especially first half when we got into some good areas and to get the shots off. And I think you see a difference, of course you do. Arsenal, one of the best teams in Europe, and it was a bit stop-start. Thought the referee made the game a little bit about himself once again. So I think that's something which needs improving in the MLS. I've said it all season. So it's a good opportunity for me to bring it up again. But yeah, it was a disappointing result. But I think most importantly, it's a good event for the fans, and especially the fans in DC to come and see some really good players from the Premier League. The league, I know the league has been working extremely hard to try and bring that gap closer and bring better players in, or younger players more towards the peak into the league, which I think they're doing well. But we're talking about one of the best teams in Europe, in I believe in Arsenal, where this could happen to any team. So it's very difficult when you're playing against a team like Arsenal. In terms of closing the gap, I think that has been happening over the years, and I'm sure that will continue to happen and get closer.
Wayne, what did you take out of this game personally as a coach, and you're honing your craft as a young coach? What did you take out of it?
Absolutely nothing. So no, listen, it's difficult. As I said, that on Monday the players all arrived and basically done a small-sided game. On Tuesday, as I suggested, I didn't want them training at the National Mall, but that's where we trained, and we can't do anything. So we were limited to do head tennis, so literally had no time to do any tactics whatsoever. So you put the players out there and hope that they can figure things out. And against a team like Arsenal, that's very difficult to do.